All right, everybody. UnHappy Wednesday coming to you live from our humble abodes. This is UnHappy and the MP, powered by Green Legion Radio and proudly brought to you by the Green Legion. We thank you for joining us tonight from wherever you may be and whatever device you're using to stream us on YouTube. So please pull up a chair, turn up the volume, turn up the heat, because good God, is it cold out here. Use the company dime if, God forbid, you're still stuck at work at this hour. Crack open a cold one. If that's your thing on a Wednesday, it is the holiday season, so get in the spirit. Let's try to have some fun as we put an end to day 3 of this week's hostage situation and look forward to tomorrow being Friday Eve. It is cold out here. I don't know what the weather's like back there, brother, but it is cold. It's supposed to get down to 13 degrees tonight, and I will tell you, I'm 46 years old, and with each year, I hate this more and more. We got our first snowfall the other day, and I will tell you now, they called for 2 to 3 inches. We got 6. And out here in Southwest Ohio, that is a massive problem.
Yeah.
People calling off of work. I'm trying to drive in, got halfway there, damn near turned around. Shoveling out my driveway, walk outside expecting 2 to 3 inches of snow. There's fucking 6 inches of snow on the ground. It's still coming down like a bastard. So here I am shoveling, right? Wiping off my car, wiping off the wife's car. It was also garbage day. So we had the cans up on the grass, and the garbage man can't get to them. So I moved them down to where, behind my wife's car from where I had shoveled, slam them down, and of course, like an idiot, I don't have gloves on. My wedding ring comes right off my finger. Where does it go? Into the abyss of fucking snow, where I can't hear it hit the ground. I have no clue where it went. I'm pissed off. She's not happy about it. Not a good start to the week, and I really didn't need that on the heels of another depressing Eagles weekend, albeit coming out of Thanksgiving, which is always awesome. So how the hell are you?
Well, we aren't quite getting frost on our windshields here, so there is that. But no, I mean, it's really been hard to hate the game, hate the team, beyond just being depressed and sad and sapped of all energy to begin with. And so just been kind of processing everything. But no, the week's been great. I got to see family on Thanksgiving, and that's always nice. It's always a good redeemer. And so
sure.
It's always nice to sweeten the pot there.
Yeah, I get it, man. It's you almost wish that you played on Wednesday so that you had Thanksgiving and all the happiness afterwards, right? To try to boost your mood. Instead, we play on Friday, and it's a freaking disaster. Just ick. It's not happy. Who we got in the room? I know Dev was here early. What's up, brother? Always appreciate you. Keenan Harmon and saying we were late. We're not late. I kicked that thing right at 6 o'clock. Keenan would like to know exactly where you reside, Mason.
I live in South Jersey, near Deffert.
There you go. I have no idea where that is. David Loeb in the room. We're here. Go Birds. Let's get this Monday night win. Yeah, well, we'll talk about that in just a little bit here. I do agree with Keenan saying keeping the hopes high. David also says cold in Philly and South Jersey. Is it this cold though? Is it 20 degrees?
It's not quite that cold. It's not quite that cold, but we'll get there soon enough.
Nice. Josh, I made it and you were late. No, you're late. We're 7 minutes in and you're late. Not me. Here's the fun part, guys. This is what I tell people at work if I show up a couple minutes, after when everyone else starts. And some guys like to give me shit. They're like, "Oh, you're late," and I just look at them and go, "Am I here?" Then I'm on time. Same shit applies here, right? He says you're not far from Steph and Sam. Okay, yeah. So South Jersey. Okay, I know the area. So very good. All right, let's get this sponsorship out of the way here. Everyone, Michelle's favorite part of the show before she heads off to take her mother to a hairstyling appointment. We are proudly sponsored by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club, located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Just minutes away from the sports complex, Cheerleaders brings you the area's most beautiful women on 5 different stages. Open 7 days a week from noon until 2 a.m. and until 4 a.m. on Fridays and Saturdays. For group information, call 215-467-1980. Also offering free parking, a full menu, daily drink and food specials, and a premium selection of cigars and a cigar lounge. And if you're looking to catch the birds and you don't want to sell a kidney to go over to the link, we don't blame you. So head on out to Cheerleaders instead and enjoy the 75-foot HD TV wall as well as HD TV screens throughout the entire club. Once again, folks, that's Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. There you go, and there's the finger. She just flipped me off. Very good. My life is whole now. Everyone, as always, bottom of the screen, greenlegion.com, scrolling along there. You're running out of time, folks. There's only a handful of games left here, home and road. If it's not sold out, you want to get out on the road, greenlegion.com, trips and tailgates, away trips. Click on the one that you want to go on. If it does not say sold out, jump on it. It will not last forever, I promise. Same applies for home tailgates. greenlegion.com, trips and tailgates, home tailgates. Find the one you want to go to. If it doesn't say sold out, buy away, folks. Don't hesitate. Like I say every week, we know about he who hesitates. We don't need to go into any of that, right? Especially with my daughter in the other room. But yeah, always greenlegion.com, best in the business, longest tenured. You will not find a better way to do an away trip or a home tailgate than with the Green Legion. Did get a call from our fearless leader, Mr. Quimby, I guess about an hour ago. He made sure to give me shit about not going to Dallas. That was always nice. Like, it's the only reason why I went on that trip, fucker. I'm like, jeez, I'm sorry. I felt horrible about it. But, it's like I told you guys, when sometimes, when you're a leader at work, difficult situations. So that's where we ended up. And like I said, when one door closed, another one opened, and we had that great event with Jordan and his and True Strength. So, I would have loved to have both, but we can't be too greedy. So here we are. What do we got here? Russ Taylor, are we at Boner of the Week yet? We haven't done that in a few weeks, and I'm going to throw one out. We have not. And I'm going to throw one out here, and it's going to stay close to home for me anyways. And I don't mean, home here in Cincinnati. I'm a Penn State fan. So Penn State fires James Franklin, rightfully so. I would have never given him the extension a couple of years ago. But they fire him with the thought that, okay, we're never going to be better than B+ as long as he's the head coach. We don't know what we're going to get, but we know what we have, and it's not good enough. So here we are, early signing day, and we still don't have a head coach. They're going after the guy from BYU, and apparently the owner or CEO, whatever, of Crumble Cookie ponied up more money than the collection of jagoffs that were trying to put money together to bring him to Penn State. So,
wow.
Yeah, Crumble Cookie. So, and, this is why college football is so awesome. The fans just won't let it, they won't let shit die. Apparently, a bunch of people sent orders of Crumble Cookie to the athletic department at Penn State. So if you want to talk Boner of the Week, brother, there is my Boner of the Week. The Penn State Athletic Department for not having a coach yet for early signing day, and we're getting crushed, right? We have 5 recruits right now. All these guys have transferred out because Franklin left. Franklin's gone, and we don't have a replacement. So now you hear rumors about Brian Daboll and everything. The one thing I will say is I would rather them take their time and stink than make a rushed, poor decision. And there is a school of thought, and we'll keep it college football themed because that's where we're going to go into once we're done with this part. There is a thought that Penn State is waiting for who's playing this Saturday. So, you've got your Big 12 championship. You've got your SEC championship. Obviously, Kirby Smart's not leaving Georgia, but there is some thought that they may throw a bag at Kalen DeBoer. I would be shocked if DeBoer left Alabama to come to Happy Valley. I just don't see that happening. I think the one that makes the most sense to me is if they go hardcore after Brian Daboll. Right? This is a professional NFL level coach. Didn't do so great as a head coach. Got it. The Giants are also a very poorly run organization overall. But he was very successful as a coordinator, as a quarterback coach, and you can translate that to college football much more easily than you can to another head coaching gig in the NFL. That's the one that makes the most sense to me. So there's your unhappy Gilmore end of owner of the week. We'll just take a shot right over the bow at Penn State. Mason, what do you got? You got anything for that?
You know what? I feel like in some way it could be a little bit low hanging fruit, but I think that just because of the type of event that it was, it deserves to be kind of recognized. It was the idiots, the absolute retards who egged Petillo's house.
Easy.
Oh, can't say that. Can I say that?
Watch the artwork.
No, but it's the idiots who egged Petillo's house. You leave, say what you want about the guy's performance, but I mean, he has a family there, and it's not like eggs are going to kill anyone. But his performance at his job doesn't necessitate or doesn't, give credence to do that to his house, to his property, or anything like that. So. Call me soft, but I don't like it.
Hey, look, man, different strokes for different folks. I will tell you, when that broke, I laughed uncontrollably hard. Probably way harder than I should have laughed. And I'm like, look, I get your point, right? He's got a family. You don't want to scare young children and stuff like that. Obviously, that. But you are coaching in Philadelphia, and that offense, with as much talent as there has been, atrocious, and you're the freaking face of it, of that offensive just disaster. I mean, how much more were you hoping for? How much more patient do you want Birds fans to be before they just start throwing shit at you, man? Just be thankful it wasn't bricks.
Yeah, that's true. Initially, I thought that the initial reports were rocks. That was the first source that I read.
That would have been.
That
would have been.
But then someone said it was eggs, and I was like, well, you know what?
Yeah, I mean, eggs aren't they're going to stink. You got to wash them off and stuff. If somebody was throwing rocks, like that's you can make the argument it's over the line either way, even with eggs. But rocks certainly would have been like, okay, that's now you're going to damage windows, you're going to damage siding, God forbid what else. So yeah, there would have been no excuse for that. But I get it, man. I get it.
Call me soft.
I'm telling you, I couldn't have laughed harder. I actually made it the group picture for the Midwest Eagles Nest. It's just a picture of him, and the word just says egged. I couldn't help it. It was too funny to me. Not that I'm condoning the behavior. Please don't everyone go out and start egging people.
But, condemn.
Who do we got here? The eggers were Jersey folk just trying to keep their cred as Philly folk. Hey. Hang on. What else do we got in here? Dev, my eggs would have been frozen with shit. Keenan Harmon, I wouldn't waste money on eggs, but would be willing to help him write his farewell speech. That's fair. I think ChatGPT could take care of that. Egg prices are stabilized, which is positive. Lee Cummings coming in with the real information right there. Russ Taylor, they'll find them and they'll make them pay a fine. Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not condoning the behavior. I just found it hysterical. I found it kind of fitting. All right. So, Mason, I don't know how deeply you get into college football. But I ingest an obnoxious and obscene amount of it. My friend Josh has decided to hang out with us on most Saturdays right here in this room with my 3 TVs that are set up directly to my left. And we put on just college ball all day long. And now come this Saturday, even though I do have to work for a couple hours Saturday morning, don't even get me started. My week is not going well. So Saturday better be fun. These games better be good. But so we had the college football, the latest playoff rankings come out. last night.
Yep.
And I can tell you right now, I am not thrilled. And Fanny, who I know is in the room saying roll tide, I am not thrilled with Bama moving up a spot. I feel like this is the committee positioning Bama to, if they lose a close game, still have justification to be in the playoff, which I don't think they should if they lose to Georgia. Another problem you've got, the other problem you have is you've got Miami and Notre Dame. Now, Notre Dame's protected by Utah right now, and the problem is Utah is going to move, or by BYU, I'm sorry, but BYU is going to move, whether they win or lose, right? They're going to move, which is then going to likely put Bama or Notre Dame and Miami directly next to each other. So what's the first tiebreaker in any sport? First tiebreaker is always head-to-head, right? Always. That's the first one you look at. Well, Miami beat Notre Dame earlier this year. So I don't like the positioning. I'm questioning the committee here at this point. I think it's just like it's feelings getting involved here. I think you're going to see them go away from the all human aspect and go back to some sort of computer, maybe mixed with the human aspect to it. But I don't like the positioning here. The other thing you have is you have the ACC, which is, what is that championship game? That game is, let me pull it up here. It's Duke and Virginia.
Mm-hmm.
So Miami right now is really the only shot that if Duke were to beat Virginia, for the sake of argument, you are not going to get an ACC team into the playoff, more than likely, unless it's Miami. Right. But if this committee wants to deep throat Notre Dame, I got news for you Irish fans, okay? And I know a lot of folks up in the Northeast area are huge Irish fans, and I get it. Especially those of you that, have gone away from Penn State after the whole Sandusky scandal, which I don't blame you for either. But I got news for you. The committee is going to favor, if you go by the way it should go, where Notre Dame and Miami end up right next to each other in the rankings, and you have to pick one, it has to go by the head-to-head. That has to be the deciding factor, in which case Miami gets the nod, and Notre Dame ends up out. But who's the bigger draw on a national level, right? Where are your ratings going to go? Miami's a draw, don't get me wrong, but not like Notre Dame. Notre Dame draws across the country week in and week out on a much higher level than Miami does. So I just think there's a lot going into this weekend. Your three huge games are the ones we'll look at for a few minutes. The Big 12 championship is at noon, and that's BYU and Texas Tech. You've got that's number 11 BYU and Texas Tech. Now, BYU beats Texas Tech. Texas Tech is going to likely stay in. And then you're going to also have BYU get it. Mm-hmm. So then how does that trickle down affect everybody else? At 4 o'clock, you've got number 3 Georgia, number 9 Alabama. I mean, it's the SEC championship. They played earlier this year to a 3-point game. Bama had control throughout the entire first half and got shut out in the second half. They had to hold on to win that game. And then the biggest one, I guess you want to put it, is the Big Ten championship at 8 o'clock, and that is number 2 Indiana, number 1 Ohio State. Those two are going to be in no matter what happens in that game. It's just a matter of where, right? Like one of them will get one of the first round buys. The other one will be an at-large. Nothing's going to change there except for which one's in which spot. So we can, where do you want to start? You want to start with the Big 12? There's other games, but those three are really the ones to, kind of hone in on it. I think it's nice to see James Madison in a championship game. North Texas and Tulane on Friday night should be a fun watch, although neither of them are going to get in the the damn playoff. Those 3 games are really going to, are the big ones. And then the Duke Virginia game becomes interesting. If Duke happens to win that, then what happens with the ACC? So where do you want to start, kid?
If you want to rock with the, my dad is personally an Alabama fan. So if you want to start looking at the Alabama,
another one,
another one.
All right,
He fell in love with Saban.
I can't knock him for that. All right. So number 3, Georgia, number 9, Bama. I told you a few minutes ago that these 2 teams played early. It was in September. It was like September 24th or something. They played to a 24-21 game. It was 24-14 Bama at halftime of that, and Bama had to hold on. So I'm hoping for now. Look, I was rooting for Texas A&M to be in this game, and they had a bummer of a loss to Texas on last Friday night. So that knocks them out of it. We'll see what they do with their big season come playoff time. As for this game, Saturday, 4 p.m. on ABC, you got Georgia by 2.5 with the over/under at 47.5, right? So a pick'em game with the over/under pretty much right in the same ballpark as the point total from September. And I think me personally, I don't have a dog in the fight, right? It's not like I'm a fan of either team, so I'm watching for good football. I would love to see another game like we saw in September, right? Where it's close, there's a lot of defense. Georgia's overall, there's no real jump out. I mean, Georgia's overall offense, 415 yards per game, whereas the Bama defense gives up 282.6. I think the biggest thing to me is, Georgia averaged 32.3 points per game, which was good for 35th in the country, which it sounds like 35th. How great is that? Well, out of 150 fucking schools is pretty
right,
good.
Yeah.
But on the flip side, you've got Bama, who had the 11th ranked scoring defense at 16.5 points per game. So, and then you got Bama, 53rd, or where were they? Their overall offense.
53rd, yeah, 4.4.
404, per game. Right. So, yeah, I mean, they just they kind of, it should work like it did back in September, where the strengths of one team play into the strengths of the other team's defense and vice versa.
Sure.
And I think we end up with the same type of game. I'm sure your father would rather Bama just go ahead and beat the dog shit out of Georgia. But then there's the other part of it where it's like, we got a lot of Bulldogs on this Eagles team, right?
Oh, yeah.
So you get a little bit of a soft spot for it. I am interested to see what Kalen DeBoer does in this big game. And then obviously what happens afterwards. Is Penn State really trying to target this dude? I think it'd be a colossal mistake on Penn State's part because I don't think it's going to go anywhere. But would be interesting to see what happens if Bama should lose this. Or obviously, do they stay in the playoff or do they just get like a different bowl game? They're ranked 9th right now. Which again, I don't agree with the leapfrog. They beat an Auburn team that was 5-7. Like, I get it, Iron Bowl rivalry game, I understand, but they were up at the end of the first half, and again had to hold on in the second half. It seems to be a recurring problem with the Tide. It's almost like they just kind of sit on it. Sound familiar? But give me your thoughts on that one. I know, so obviously, so your dad's a Bama fan. You're probably pretty well in tune with what's going on as far as the Tide. So let's hear your thoughts on that one. The SEC is one and 1A with the Big Ten. It's the 2 biggest conferences in college football.
Oh yeah. So admittedly, I'm very bad. I'm very bad with college football. I don't watch it nearly as much as I should. But with that said, I feel like when it comes to Alabama and the playoff, the playoffs are of course a newer development in kind of the long history of college football. It's I think it was only really the 4 top guys, and then they expanded it to 8, and then they expanded it to 12. And so it almost feels like you said a little bit before with the committee, and it seems like a lot more feelings are coming in rather than cold hard numbers and facts and stuff like that. That they may be hesitant to kind of put Alabama in the guillotine and send them off for teams that might be more deserving. So I think that might play a really big role into it. Um, Alabama has 2 losses, which is not very much like Alabama. If you're like my dad, you fell in love with the Nick Saban tide there. And so, of course, having the 2 losses really kind of hurt you in that instance, and puts you in a class of other colleges and schools that really kind of makes it stresses out a little bit. But but I'm with you. I'm not a huge Alabama fan. I only follow Alabama just because, like I said, my dad. So I'm kind of with you in that I'm hoping for a good game here. It does list Alabama as home, so there's always that home field advantage. Home field advantage there.
They're playing it at the what was the Mercedes?
Oh, because neutral site then. Neutral site then.
Yeah,
okay,
neutral site.
Gotcha. So, the ESPN has it almost virtually right down the center regarding the percentages and projections, everything like that. Of course, the books, as you said before, have Georgia by -2.5. If Alabama wins, I think that's a pretty big upset considering that Georgia's the third and they're going to not skyrocket up their rankings, but they're going to be pretty good in there. But I think, of course, if Alabama loses, I don't think they're in the playoffs anymore. I think they're going to get a bowl game and they're going to go home like that, which for a team like Alabama would be crushing. Really, that would be really crushing to the entire program there. But I'm hoping for a good game. But I think that Georgia should. I think they should definitely win. I would probably take Georgia -2.5. To be completely honest with you.
I would take Georgia, just because I do think they are better. I know Bama won the matchup in September, and I respect Bama and all that stuff. But I do think Georgia is better, and not just because they were ranked third and Bama's ninth and all of that bullshit. I just think they're a better team. I think you need a little bit more experience on the head coach level with Kirby Smart versus Kalen DeBoer. I like Georgia. I just don't know by how much. You know what I mean? Like, I really feel like that 2.5 is fair. I feel like this might very well be another field goal game. It could also go, it could also go Bama by a touchdown, But I guess the other question I have for you, and I don't know if your dad has talked about any of this. If he's a big Bama fan, I'm sure it's on his radar. A loss here would be 3 losses. And is a 3-loss Bama team deserving of a spot in the playoff? I personally don't think so. But I know how much this committee likes to deep throat the SEC. So, depending on what else may or may not happen,
right?
Oklahoma sits idle, right? They're going to stay 10-2. Everyone else above that line is 1 loss or undefeated. So I don't know. Miami's going to sit idle. BYU, even with a loss, is 11-2. Now, I guess that's the spot. Could you make the argument that a 3-loss Alabama, SEC runner-up is better than a 2-loss BYU Big 12 runner-up? And I think in that case, you could make that argument. But then you also still have to deal with Notre Dame, Miami, and is Bama better than Texas? What is because that puts them both at 3 losses. Yeah. So I think that's the question. Has your dad talked about any of that?
I haven't heard him personally mention that, but I can imagine that's keeping him up at night. One of the things that's kind of interesting to me regarding what you just kind of brought up with the Texas and everything like that is that, of course, Texas with the whole realignment is newer to the SEC than, of course, some other schools are.
But so they did win it last year.
If you see an Alabama loss here, and then you see a newer Texas school leapfrog them and make it to the playoffs because Alabama loses to Georgia, I think that would really be something. I think that'd be really interesting to see. But no, I think that your point with the BYU, especially to see how far they'll slide there. I don't know if if Bama loses, do they get pushed to the 13 and then or to 13 and Bama just kind of clings on to that 12 spot there for dear life? But I mean, you're also looking at Notre Dame. Are they better? Are they worse than Notre Dame? I mean, where are they going to fall regarding their relations to Miami there with 3 losses? That's going to be really bad. So I think there's a good chance that if Texas holds strong, maybe they sneak in. But I don't know if I see the committee flipping Texas for Alabama like that.
I wouldn't think so. The only other one that's on the outside looking in right now that had a really nice season is Vanderbilt, right? Like you got them at 10-2. That young quarterback of theirs is pretty exciting. I don't think they're going to get in.
Right.
I think there's just too many teams are going to sit. Too many teams in front of them are going to sit idle, right? Oregon is 11-1. They're not playing a conference championship game. Ole Miss is 11-1. A&M 11-1, same deal. Oklahoma 10-2, same deal. Notre Dame 10-2, same deal. I just think there's too much to overcome there. You know, it almost feels like the 12. If you look at the college football rankings, it almost feels like that 12 that are there may very well just be the 12.
Mm.
And then they slide around seeding wise depending on what happens this weekend. Again, you know, the ACC is in trouble. But you see what I was talking about. If you look at those rankings, you know, they leapfrogged Bama to 9. So that puts Notre Dame at 10, BYU 11, Miami 12. BYU is going to move up or down, right? Depending on win or loss, which is then going to, should anyways, put Notre Dame and Miami right next to each other. And if that comes down to, okay, who gets in that final spot, it has to be Miami. It just has to. You can't look at that and be like, okay, we're going to go ahead and put Notre Dame in, even though Miami beat them head to head. You just can't do it, dude. I mean, they get crucified for that, despite the ratings power of a Notre Dame.
Yeah,
I think that one gets interesting. I like Georgia in that game, but not by much. It's not like I'm thinking Georgia's going to go out and take Bama to the woodshed. I like them in that game, and maybe it's selfishly thinking I just want to see a good game. But
I think that they covered a spread. I think 2.5. I would take Georgia there.
Yeah, I mean, all it takes is a field goal, right? It's yeah. I like Georgia in that one. All right, we'll stay with the other big dog. This is one that we'll go to Ohio State and Indiana. So number 2 versus number 1. Saturday, 8 p.m. Fox got the Buckeyes by 4.5 with the over-under again at 47.5. Now, Indiana, look, they're a great story. They are, right? This is the second straight year that they've had a really good season. Obviously, this year they're undefeated. They have key wins at Oregon by double digits. They beat Oregon. And then they went to Iowa and won that game. Iowa's currently ranked 24th, so it doesn't seem like much. But if you watch a bunch of college football, going to Iowa and winning a game can be extraordinarily difficult. That is a rough place to play as an opposing team, unless you're the fucking Buckeyes and just go everywhere and murder everyone. But they do have 2 nice wins. It's not really their fault that the Big Ten overall wasn't very good this year, right? Like Iowa's 24th, got it. Penn State fell apart. Michigan finished middle of the pack, but again, not a powerhouse this year, right? Wisconsin has been down for a few years now. Michigan State's been a disaster for a few years now. You can't punish Indiana for their schedule, really,
right.
when you know they're not the only ones that played some little sisters of the poor outside of conference, right? Like Ohio State, they got Texas, got it, and they won that game. But if you look at Ohio State's overall schedule, it's not exactly a gauntlet. It's just not. Neither was Indiana's, and the 2 big ones on the road, they won. And that one at Oregon, a double-digit win, that's impressive to go out to Eugene and beat that team who's currently ranked 5th in the country right now. And they went out to Eugene and won that game in enemy territory by 10 points. So, I mean, that was impressive. Problem I've got the two biggest issues I have with this game and why I think the Buckeyes win, and it would not surprise. Two things won't surprise me. One is if it's close. Two, if Ohio State destroys Indiana. A close game, I'm not going to be shocked if it goes either direction. I don't see a scenario where Indiana could go and just beat up Ohio State. I just don't. I do see a couple scenarios where Ohio State can smack Indiana around, though. And I'm going to give you the two of them, and then I want your feedback. Indiana's offense, as good as Mendoza is, it's their rushing attack that really gets them going, right? They're ninth in the country in rushing yards per game at 229.8. Problem they got there is Ohio State's rush defense is fourth in the nation at 81.7. So the Indiana strength plays directly into Ohio State's defensive strength. All right. And the other piece to it is, look, I get it. Indiana, nice season. Their overall pass defense, 14th in the country, only 172.5 per game. You know, their scoring defense was second in the country. They had a plus 17 turnover margin. They haven't had to go up against Jeremiah Smith and Carnell Tate. All right. And I just don't see a way where you're going to be able to contain both of them. They're too talented. Something Quimby and I talked about real briefly around the phone earlier. Quimby's thoughts are just bull rush at Julian Sayin, the young freshman Ohio State quarterback, and be damned if you get burned on the outside, but knock that kid on his ass. That might be the only way to do it. Because if you try to bracket or double these guys, one of them is going to kill you. They do it every freaking week. One of them just rips them apart. So it's those two scenarios where I have trouble believing Indiana can win. And those two scenarios, if they both get exposed, I could see Ohio State running away with the thing.
Yeah, so I'm taking a look at the kind of tail of the tape here on my end, and it really does look like the pinnacle of this whole game is going to be the Ohio State defense versus the Indiana offense. I mean, Ohio State overall first, passing. This is for defense. Overall first, passing first, rushing fourth, scoring first.
Yep,
that's brutal. That's brutal.
Like
Indiana
said,
offense.
They didn't run a gauntlet with their schedule. Now,
sure,
a lot of puppy dogs in there, but you still destroyed everyone you played.
Oh, yeah. So Indiana offense overall is fifth. Passing is 42, but rushing is ninth, as you said, and scoring is second. So a lot of attention is going to be on, when you have two kind of sides of the ball that would be pushing like that, it's going to be a shootout on both sides in terms of how, who's going to blink first in terms of, is the offense going to be the ones who dominates there? I think there's a good chance that the game falls on whether or not Indiana can really stifle and suffocate Ohio State's offense. I think that might be a sleeper kind of battle there in terms of if Indiana can force some really untimely turnovers for Ohio State in their own territory, give your offense a short field there, you might put yourself in a situation where you have an advantage over Ohio State early and you just kind of keep the pressure on that way. So, I mean, of course, like I said, the whole focus of the game is going to be the Ohio State defense and Indiana offense, and that's going to be really fun to watch. It really is.
Yeah.
So, even just looking at a pure stats perspective, I mean, that's almost like an immovable force and unstoppable object there. But I think a real sleeper thing here could be whether or not Indiana's defense can actually end up winning the game. So I think if Indiana does win, I think they win it through their defense, while their offense just tries to keep up with Ohio State just because Ohio State's defense is what it is. But I do see where you're coming from though, in terms of Ohio State being Ohio State. It can either be a close game or a blowout in that fashion. So I think if I'm looking at the game here, there's a good chance that Indiana just squeaks out there just purely on defense. But I wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State pulls out because it's Ohio State and it might be a 7-point game.
Yeah, well, and I mean the other thing to keep in mind, and then we're going to get to Josh's question here in just a second, which kind of plays into what you were talking about. The other thing to consider about Ohio State, They haven't lost. And look, I'm a Penn State fan. Ohio State drives me crazy. The one and only time when I will walk around with my buddies here and yell "OH" is when they're playing Michigan, because I hate Michigan more than I hate Ohio State. So, but they haven't lost a game since last November against Michigan. That's a long time, dude. And what happens with that is a lot of confidence gets built. Keenan brings up is Indiana the New England Patriots of the NCAA. Yeah, look, it's a weak schedule, but Ohio State didn't run a gauntlet either, guys. You can make that kind of argument for both teams. When you compare to a New England Patriots, New England had the easiest schedule in football in the NFL this year, okay? But you still have to win your games. And when you keep winning, it stops mattering so much who your opponent is, but how your locker room is feeling, right? The confidence, the trust in one another that you're going to pick up. Somebody drops the baton, somebody's going to be there to pick it up, right? Like you just build that level in when you're winning football games. Yes, you always learn more from an ass whooping. We all know that. And sooner or later, everyone gets bit. The pedigree of this Ohio State team, though, I mean, they're just freaking loaded at every spot. They play SEC football in the Big Ten, and it's a little much to deal with. But I want to get to my buddy Josh here. This is Josh who he comes over pretty much every weekend to watch college ball with me. He says, if Ohio State gets off to a slow start against Indiana, do you think Indy can hold the lead? And I think this goes into what you were talking about, Mason. Can Indy, who is number one in FBS in turnover margin, can they play that opportunistic type football?
Yeah.
And if they get an early lead, no matter how big or small, can they hold it with their defense forcing mistakes out of the Ohio State? Can they make Ohio State one-dimensional and force mistakes out of it? I think that plays into what you were talking about, and I think that is the recipe for success for Indiana. They've got to come out and punch Ohio State directly in the face early and often.
Yeah, and I think that when you take into account your earlier conversation with Quimby when he says you just have to put Ohio State's quarterback on his ass, it's going to come down. I mean, I feel like everyone's going to be focused on Ohio State defense and Indiana offense, and it's going to be very easy to forget that there's also another side of the game. It's not only going to be about that. The other half of the game is going to be whether or not Ohio State can score on Indiana at all. So it's that's
that much.
Yeah.
They're going to score.
But
it's just how much.
I mean, what it's going to come down to. I mean, the spread versus how much of this is the game of football, but how much can Indiana's offense put on their defense while stopping Ohio State from scoring? But if you're Indiana's defense and you're looking at like I said, the 4th overall, 14th passing, 2nd rushing, 2nd scoring against Ohio State's offensively, 24th overall, 26th passing, 53rd rushing, and 13th scoring.
Again, that is in the nation. You're talking about 150 schools, dude. It's still a big number.
100%. And just to go back to Indiana, I mean, they're 4th in the nation of 150 schools. They're 14th in passing defense in the nation, 2nd best rushing defense in the entire nation of 153 schools, and then 2nd in the nation in scoring as well. So I think when you look at it from that perspective, Indiana has a really good chance, a really good opportunity to score a few times offensively on Ohio State. All you need is a few breaks. And I mean, it's just Indiana's going to have to live and die by their defense.
And they're going to have to, they're going to have to sell out on defense, because if you just sit back and think you're going to, okay, let's just try to cover everyone, it's not going to happen. Tate and Smith are way too talented. So here's what I'll tell you about Jeremiah Smith. He's a sophomore this year. As a 19-year-old freshman last year, he could have stepped on an NFL field and dominated. And he wouldn't have batted an eye. The kid's like 6'2" or 6'3". He's built like a brick shithouse. And he's young. And then Tate is no slouch, right? So when you take away Smith, that means Tate is open. Or he's single covered, and you have a problem there. That's going to be the area. So I tend to agree with what Quimby was saying. I don't think you can sit back and just let's try to play cover. I think you have to attack and take chances. And if you get burned, you get burned.
Sure.
But I think you've got to take those chances. I do believe their rush defense will take care of itself. I don't see Ohio State much in the way of being able to get much going there. Could be wrong. But that's the area, right? Like they're not going to be able to take down. You're not going to stop Ohio State. You have to contain it, keep up with it, and let's see. Plus 17 on the turnover margin, led the nation.
Mm-hmm.
You get one or two, and only give it up once, 0 to 1 times yourself. You're plus on that, and you got to turn it into points. The one thing I can tell you about this Ohio State team, I don't care what your plus minus is going into it. If you give them extra possessions, you are dead. And you can say that about a lot of teams.
Mm-hmm.
But in particular, a powerhouse like that, you just can't make the mistakes. They have to play mistake-free football. Indiana has to play mistake-free football. I would tell you Ohio State could probably get away with a mistake or two. Indiana cannot. They are going to have to capitalize on every opportunity in order to have a shot to win that game. I like the 4.5 point spread. If I had to call it, I'd say Ohio State by 10. I just think they're a better team. And I don't think – I think eventually – I think you might see a tight first half, and then I think the pedigree –
in the second.
I think they pull away a bit in the second half. I do. Unless Indiana can force that mistake. That big mistake in a big spot. But that'll remain to be seen. I'm looking forward to this one. To both the games we just talked about, honestly. I love college football, and Championship Saturday is just fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say much different. I'll probably go with Ohio State by 7. I think it'll be just a tad closer, but not much. I think it's going to come down to Indiana's defense, and I mean, it's going to get one of the best tests it's going to get virtually there. And I mean, if they can hold Ohio State to 7 points, I think that's easily a victory as well for Indiana. But I mean, if they really want to kind of put themselves on top, of course, even if they win by 2 or 3,
a win.
I mean, that's a blowout in terms of morale right there.
Yeah.
And so
any kind of straight up victory is much bigger than your normal victories. Absolutely.
Yep.
It would make them the number 1 team in the country. It would make them the number 1 seed in the playoff.
By mile,
without question. And that would be. You talk about a confidence boost. Jesus Christ. Josh also brought up when I was talking about the locker room thing. He says, "Look at the fucking Bears." And he says, "Talking about confidence in locker room, and it's true. They believe in each other.
Yeah." Yeah, I mean, when in 2017, when we had all the injuries, it was Malcolm Jenkins. We all we got, we all we need. I mean, the kind of rallying in the locker room. I mean, that goes a lot farther than the locker room.
It does. I 100% agree with you. So, last one here, and kind of the consolation prize. This is your noon game. All right, this is your where are we at here? It's BYU and Texas Tech. All right, this is the Big 12 championship. This has implications for overall seeding, like we talked about to open the show. But you can kind of see what Vegas thinks here. They've got Texas Tech by 12.5, with the over-under at 49.5. So you saw these other games where the over-under is at 47.5, but the spreads are small. This is Vegas telling you these are going to be kind of, let me get a back and forth, all that kind of shit. This one, the over-under is only 2 points higher, but they've got Texas Tech by 12.5. They're telling you, they're basically daring you to bet against them. They think that Texas Tech is just going to roll BYU. And I can see it. I'm not big on BYU. I think the coach is good and all, but Texas Tech comes in looking pretty tough in this one. Now, it's the Big 12, not exactly known for their defense, right? You look at this Texas Tech offense, 4th overall, 9th overall in passing yards per game at almost 300, 295.6. Yeah, they run it 25th in the country. Their scoring is 3rd best in the country at 43.2 points per game. That's the Texas Tech offense. They couple that with the BYU defense, which is, again, you're talking about 150 schools here, but they give up 324 per game. They give up 205 in the air. They give up 119 on the ground. Scoring defense pretty solid, right? 17.8. But man, that Texas Tech offense is something else, dude. I kind of side with Vegas on this. I think you're going to see BYU get fucking rolled, and I think you're going to see them drop right out, and then you're going to end up with that scenario with Notre Dame and Miami. And I want it because I want the committee to squirm, right? I want them to have to think about those two, and I want them to make the wrong decision so they get crucified for it. When it gets to this point and my team isn't in it, right? Penn State's out. Stink, right? They're going to play in like the freaking, the douchebag.com bowl or whatever. So what I root for now is just absolute. I root for chaos. Give me all the chaos. I want the committee to squirm. I want them to have a hard time. I want Texas Tech to flatten BYU, and I want that Miami and Notre Dame scenario to come to light, so that committee has to sit there and go, shit, we shouldn't have moved Bama up like that. God damn it. That's what I'm hoping for. And I think BYU's had a nice season. I think they're well coached. And maybe they will cover. But I do think it's more likely that Texas Tech just goes out there and beats the ever-loving hell right out of them.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the comparisons that you just listed out there, I don't really see much light for BYU. I don't see a crack in the armor. I don't see how they slip in. I think that their best shot is covering the spread, but I think their shots at winning are virtually nil. I mean,
I would definitely take the over.
I would say that, I mean, Texas Tech would definitely rival even closer to like Indiana or Ohio State, obviously. But like you said, Texas Tech's offense overall 4, passing 9, rushing's 25, but scoring's 3rd. BYU's defense overall 29, passing 46, rushing 29, and the scoring's 14th, so it's not too bad. But I mean, what was the spread one more time? I think it was 12.5 for Texas Tech. I mean, I would take that. I'm not a betting man, but I would take that.
Points.
I think for the total 49.5. I mean, I think you can see that. I think Texas Tech can really pour it on there. I'm with you. I don't see a lot of. I think the real game is how much they win by, not if they win at all. So I think you could definitely see. I think you can see Texas Tech by 20. I'm just looking at the comparison there.
My good buddy David Conant here. I mean, Texas Tech beat them by 22 the first time they played. So
exactly,
no reason to think they wouldn't go back and just do that again. What up, Home Slice? You okay? All right, my son. Josh, 12.5. I feel like BYU has looked better than that. I feel like it will be Tech, but only by 1 possession. All right.
Ooh.
Hey, look, dude, and I will tell you, I'm here for all of that. I would prefer that. I want each and every single one of these games to be close, to be exciting, to be fun to watch. I don't want to see Texas Tech come out and drop 28 and be up like 28-7 at halftime, dude. It takes all the fun out of it, right? Then you're kind of waiting around until that 4 o'clock kickoff for the SEC game.
Yeah.
That's too much dead time for me. I'll end up either drinking too much or something else. I'll have to fill my time with something else. So no, I'm rooting for what Josh is talking about. Like, let's see a closer game. I just think it's more likely. And if I was going to put money, I would probably lay the points and take the over. Just kind of how I feel about it. Dave kind of has a smart ass remark. Winner of the SEC should always be number 1 according to ESPN. Well, yeah, considering they own the rights for all of for the entire league. Got it. No, we're not going to do that. Yeah, we're going to leave that one alone. Russ Taylor, Mason, we need to put a pole behind you and have an entertainer of the week spin behind you from cheerleaders to help. I'll give Quimby a call back and see if he can't work on that. Oh, man. yeah, those are the big three as far as your games on Saturday. The other shit you got Friday night, Troy versus James Madison. This is Sun Belt. I know it's just kind of
Game of the week.
reach. Yeah. But James
Game of the
Madison
week.
is ranked 25th in the country, so you can tune into that. 8:00 on Friday night, you do get the AAC championship, and that's number 24 North Texas at number 22 Lane. And that could be fun to watch. But then Saturday you have the MAC championship at noon as well. That's Miami of Ohio. It's about a half an hour north of me against Western Michigan for the MAC championship. They'll play that at Ford Field up in Detroit. And then also at 8 p.m., you do have, Duke, who I think is 7-5, against number 17 Virginia for the ACC championship, which, that one could also play a role in what happens with, just with that conference overall. If Duke wins that and somehow or another, whatever else happens over this weekend doesn't favor what Miami needs, you could end up with the ACC not even getting representation into the playoff. It's on the table. It's possible. And I'm not really against it because I think that league kind of sucks. I don't. But if it comes, like I said, if it comes down to that Notre Dame versus Miami, it has to be Miami. It just has to. You can't fucking do that. That would be terrible. What do we got here? Who is this? Dev, make a Discord for this podcast. Keaton, I can't do that, and it's for just so you know, one of my good friends is that religion, and so we're not gonna bash those folks.
Keeping it clean.
That's an offline conversation.
Yeah.
So we'll leave that be. But you got any final thoughts on this college football lineup before we move on to the Burns? As much as I don't want to.
Not much more. I was like I said, I'm not a big college football guy, so seeing Indiana kind of really rise, kind of to me, kind of seemed out of nowhere. So I really enjoyed seeing them go from what I kind of saw was 0 to number 2 in the nation. One of my coworkers is a huge Indiana fan, and so seeing him progressively glow brighter, like September, October, November, just keeps on glowing, has been really cool. Alabama, DeBoer is no Saban, but seeing them lose twice is definitely, it's not something I'm used to. And so, a lot of really good matchups. I'm really going to be interested to see what happens with Ohio State and Indiana. Something's got to give there. And so it's going to be really exciting to see what happens. And of course, Alabama, I really don't see going out in a whimper to Georgia. So I think that they're going to have to try and make that close. So I think you have Georgia and Alabama. It's going to be a really good game. And I think Ohio State and Indiana is going to be a really good game. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, me too. That's the best part of the weekend, bud, is you just don't know. Be quiet.
It's the best kind of playoffs.
It is. It makes it fun. And like I said, with my team not in it, I can just root for all the chaos to go on.
Yep.
You know what I mean? All of it. So, I do not want to discuss the Bears game. I really don't. I want to leave that alone. He got massacred on the ground from a defensive standpoint. The offense was atrocious the entire game. I think there is something to be mentioned for the fact that, AJ eats and we stink, but you don't hear him complaining anymore, right? Whereas before, we got to get better, we got to get better, we got to get better. Well, we didn't. Your numbers got better, and the team is losing games. Yeah. So I think there is something to be said for that. But, I honestly believe that all of that is going to get addressed this offseason as far as the A.J. Brown thing goes. I think he's going to have a lot of suitors. We'll have a lot of suitors as far as a trade, and I don't know if they will do it, but I think it's on the table at this point.
Yeah. So, being at the game, at the game, I could definitely say that up to everything before we started to go no huddle, I mean, it felt like two completely different offenses. I mean, when before the no huddle, it literally was a continuation of the second half of Dallas. Literally just a continuation. There was no difference. There was nothing more. But as soon as they stopped huddling and they just went automatic and just go boom, 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 they went right down the field. I mean, it looked like the Bears couldn't stop them at will. We had of course, you have the score to AJ in that drive. But I'm looking at the game here.
Which
I'm looking at it.
Incredible catch from AJ on that.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I'm looking at a game here. You can't win when you have 14 first downs to their 28.
Yeah,
you can't do that. You can't go 4 for 12 on third downs. You can't have more than 30 less plays than them. You just can't do that on only one less drive.
Time of possession.
Oh my God. It was, they had 425 total yards on offense. Say what you want about the offense, but this was not a good game for the defense, especially on the ground. I have no idea what happened there. Of course, Jahad Campbell doesn't play, so I mean what
the fuck, man? What is going on with that? Like, this kid was in the running for defensive rookie of the year up until a couple of weeks ago. Now he's not even getting snaps. What the hell is going on here? Like, that feels like a bad decision.
Yeah, and I'm there with you, but I mean, at the same time, one player isn't going to take off 200 yards of total offense, and so there's much larger issues there than just one player. And so yards per play, we actually outgained them by more than a yard per play, which is interesting. We have almost 100 more passing yards than them, but I mean, the name of the game for the entire game is that they outrushed us by almost 200 yards. And we have Saquon Barkley and what was supposed to be the best offensive line in football. And they outgained us on the ground by 200. We didn't even get 100 yards on the ground. Barkley had the good game compared to what his average is for the year, only 56 yards, but compared to what he's gotten earlier, I mean, that's pretty good. Penalties, we did a lot better on. Turnovers, we did not. Two turnovers, but man, you can't do this. I mean, it almost felt like our backs were against the wall after Dallas, and you just do this.
This is the offense. It's the offense. The offense is the problem. You cannot continue to leave your defense out there like that all game, every game, week in and week out. And it's
not for 39 minutes. You can't.
We are leaving the defense out there hanging out to dry. It's happening every week. And again, I'll go back to the same shit I talked about last week. Recipe for success. Look, as bad as it was, when you looked at the game, this was a one-possession game for the overwhelming majority of the contest. Now, it felt worse than that, right? It felt like we were down by more, but it was truly a one-possession game. And what are your splits? You ran the ball 17 times, you passed it 34. That is not our recipe for success. I don't know how many more times myself, you, everybody in the room, and everyone else has to say it. You have that; those numbers have to flip around. Now, I'm not saying you only have to throw it 17 times, but the numbers can't be 2-to-1 pass to run. If you're going to go 2-to-1, it needs to be 2-to-1 run to pass. That's our recipe for success. These assholes don't seem to understand how to get back to that. There's nothing going on RPO. Nothing. There's no creativity in the offense. And your point about the offensive line is correct. They have not been good. But how much of that is poor play design, poor scheme, right? And then coupled with poor execution. Look, I'm not taking Jalen Hurts, and we've all seen him be way better. That missed throw to Devontae Smith was inexcusable. I am sorry. I get it. Everyone wants to say it was an option route and all this shit. He thought he was going one way. Look, it just continued. Even if that is 100% the case, it still plays into this offense is not performing. They're not coached well. If this team is humming, Jalen knows which way Smitty's going to go on the option. He just does, right? Because they've practiced it. They've worked on it. None of this shit is going on. That was a touchdown at best. At worst, Smitty's down inside the 5-yard line. 34 passing attempts in a game where that was a one-possession ball game for the overwhelming majority of it. What the fuck are you doing? I don't think they believe they can run the football. And I 100% believe it is a scheme, play design, all of that. Again, I am not the fire a guy in the middle of a season, but this asshole has to go. It's past time. It's not working. I don't care what the hell you have to do. Get him out. If Daboll's the answer, then get that roly-poly little fat ass wearing green and stick his ass up in the booth or on the sideline. I'm tired of hearing excuses about how Patullo, he was up in the booth, he was overseeing the whole field, blah, 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 or he's, or whatever. I don't want to hear it. Figure it out. Patullo's not the guy. And I keep hearing, oh, he's a great coach. No, he's not. He's just not, okay? Maybe he was a good position coach. That's a thing. Just like some guys can't go from coordinator to head coach, there are some guys who can't go from position coach to coordinator. That happens. And maybe that's what's going on here. But it's happening, and you have to rectify it. Or this is going to end up being 2023 all over again. So now you take these two piss-poor losses, the collapse in Dallas, and this disaster on Friday. And now you got to fly all the way across the country to play a really tough Chargers team. Now, look, I've been out there. They don't have a home presence, okay? They just don't. That is going to be Link West come Monday night. It'll be packed with green. We were there last year. Quimby and I were late walking up to the stadium, walking up to SoFi. This was against the Rams. As we're walking up, we can hear the crowd going bananas. We're figuring, shit, the Rams are on the move. We get inside, not the case. The crowd is making that much noise because it's the Birds on the move. And the Chargers especially don't have a fan base in LA. All their fans are in San Diego, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're just not there. And on a Monday night, they're even less likely. So it's going to be a Birds crowd. I'm not sure it matters. Unless this offense can somehow get its head out of its ass, they look lost on the offensive side of the ball. Bad discipline, poor execution as a result of shit play design and shit play calling.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not gonna offer a lot of pushback there. I mean, like I said, being there at the game when you start going to the no huddle offense, there was a sizable shift in the energy in the entire stadium, and then for some reason it just stopped, and we didn't see any of it again. I'm not sure if it's because the Bears like, oh, okay, well, let's do this, or we just abandoned it. But when we went no huddle, they couldn't stop. It was like a sift through grass. But outside of those few bright spots there, you have a Bears team that could run on will. I mean, so I totally hear your point about gotta give the defense some rest, but I think there's also a point where, and Alex Hunt got the huge interception, and I mean those in the next drive from us is a mess. I mean the tush push is really backfiring rapidly compared to the success we had before. Not once but twice. I mean the one against the Giants was a fumble. We got away with one. I have no idea how we got rid of that highway robbery, but we weren't lucky enough this time around. We were there when it happened. He gets the push, and all of a sudden he's like, it's Bears ball. And I go, no, it's not. What the hell are you talking about? The replay, he literally goes up to Hurts and he snatches it like he stole his lunch money. It's crazy.
Yep. Just took it right out of his arm. It was absolutely insane. It was sickening, to be honest with you.
No, it's sickening because it's definitely something that we've talked to Hurts. The coaches had to have talked to Hurts, and that's exactly what my next point was going to be. When it comes to the offensive line and the having Saquon Barkley, the reason why we know it's a coaching issue is because we know it's not a personnel issue. Because on paper, we have the best offensive line in football, and we have probably the best running back in football. The
skill position guys haven't changed. That's how you know.
No.
Right? The biggest change to the offense was Mekhi Becton going out the door. That's the biggest change.
Which is a
hurts.
difference, but yeah.
But not like this.
It's not this. It's not this big. It's not this big.
They're just awful. So Josh again here, he says Sirianni needs to take over play calling, and if he can't improve things, then both him and Patullo need to be shown the door. Time out. I consider these two linked already. I think this is a Sirianni offense. All right, and I don't know who exactly is. And Patullo's calling the plays, whatever. This feels like a Sirianni offense. All right, anybody who was with us in 2021 and who watched this team in the first half of 2021, sit there and go back and look at that and tell me that this doesn't look eerily fucking similar. It was the same thing in 2023. Whenever Sirianni has his hands too deep in that cookie jar, this is what it looks like. It looks like this. Now, I'm not taking blame off of Patullo, but I'm not just going to sit here and be like, Sirianni needs to take the play calling, and that's going to solve shit. Because we've seen that game before, and it doesn't work. Sirianni's better at managing the team. We need an actual offensive coordinator, and Kevin Patullo's not it. It's just not. Nick needs to step back, step out of it. Maybe Patullo is good, and he's just under Nick's thumb. He's been under Nick the entire time Nick has been the head coach there. I just don't see this as I see Nick as, I guess my point is, I see Nick as part of the problem with the offense already. I don't think him calling the plays is going to solve anything. I just don't.
I definitely hear where you're coming from 100%, and I'm not going to sit here and say that replacing Patullo with Sirianni is going to be like replacing Patullo with Kellen Moore, but I think when you go, I think with the state of this offense, I feel like literally asking ChatGPT if you should run or pass every single play. I think that could probably do a little bit better than that. Say, should we run quick slants or four verts here? All right, let's do it. I think you'd have better success when you have that. I think you'll have better success when it comes to that. And if Sirianni doesn't have the chutzpah, the power to go to Kevin, go to Howie and say, listen, he's running the offense, but something's not working here, and I don't want to I don't want to take over. Something has to change here. And Kevin and I are buddies, but this is business. This isn't personal. Exactly. And something has to change with the team. If Nick Sirianni does not do that, and listen, this is not the first time we've had this conversation. Go back a couple weeks of this show, and we said repeatedly, I mean, you said it multiple times, that you're not a type of guy who says fire a guy in the middle of the season, because it's like changing the engine of a car when it really just needs a tune-up.
Yep.
You're running out of time for solutions. And the more time you burn, the less radical of a move you can make. And every single week, it's only proving that only a radical solution is going to solve this problem. This isn't a position player problem. This isn't a quarterback problem. This isn't a slot receiver problem. This is a coordinator problem. And you're running out of time. The more wax and oil of that candle you let burn, the less time you have to let a radical decision kind of dust settle. You can't do this with 3 weeks after the season. It's either you do it now or you just accept it's 2023 all over again and you just flush the season down the toilet.
Yeah. So a couple of call outs here. Dev, I shouldn't be at the nest calling out plays. Dev, I got to be honest with you. I don't think there's a Birds fan alive that watches every week that couldn't look at what we run out on the field and call what's about to happen. Right. And if we can do it, imagine what opposing defensive coordinators are looking at. Keenan Harmon kind of making my point for me. Notice how much the coach and OC talk alike. Now, that's partially an Italian thing, so hey, easy. But I do agree. The word salad, they're kind of the same with that. I get it. Josh, again here, completely agree, but needs something to point at to fire a coach who just won a Super Bowl. I'm not after that. 2023, I was more after that because we were coming off a Super Bowl loss. and then 2023 was an epic disaster collapse. Now, if
I
that
don't want
happens
to fire
again,
Nick.
I don't know. I'm not looking at firing Nick. I would.
I don't want to fire Nick
now. I'm not firing Nick. I'm not. I think he's built up too much stock. Scott Calcaterra in the room, struggling with the offense's lack of pride. Whereas the swagger, we're freaking Super Bowl champions, but not playing like it. Brother, that you sum it up. Pretty much everything we've been saying. It's a lot. You can see the lack of confidence on the field. Jalen looks indecisive when he's in the pocket. They've tried to make this offense has him behaving as a pocket quarterback. He is not a pocket quarterback. Right? I think that's the best way I can sum up the shitty passing game. Is they're not doing anything to free up space in an area that Jalen isn't very good in. Whereas previous coordinators, Steichen and Kellen Moore, would design other things to then make the defense react and give Jalen better windows to throw into where he's not comfortable. We're not seeing any of that. We're also not seeing any design in the run game. And the perfect example of that is that first play against the Commodes in the NFC Championship game last year. That pitch out to Barkley, right? So it's sold as somewhat of a pass play, and he turns and pitches it out. And what happens? Everyone pulls, and here comes A.J. Brown, just crashes down on the defensive line. Bam! And there goes Saquon. Tell me the last time you saw our offense line up, run the ball, and there's some sort of creativity like that. I'll answer the question for you. It hasn't fucking happened all year. All right? It just hasn't. They're basically just taking the snap, turning it and sticking it in Saquon's belly and saying, go figure it out. It's just, there's nothing there. Watch the plays. Go if you've got access to all 22. Just go watch a few run plays and watch the blocking schemes. There's no creativity to it. It's all just stale, stagnant, predictable, off-tackle bullshit or A-gap bullshit. There's nothing there to try to spring Barkley loose. Look, Tate Bigsby's been fine as a backup, but I'm tired of filth about how he's going to save the day. When you're backed up on 3rd and 14 and you run a draw play, there's a pretty good chance that guy's going to pick up 7 or 8 fucking yards, okay? Especially when it's not Saquon. If Saquon's still in the game at that point and you hand the ball off, they're going to destroy him because everyone's looking at Saquon. It's everything I've been screaming about for weeks now. The defenses know they only have to take away the outside on the pass game. They know it because we're not doing anything to free up the middle for Jalen. That allows them to play really aggressive here in the middle, which includes coming up to smash Barkley and or Jalen. There's just nothing. It's just this. It's elementary, right? That's really what it is. It's remedial type of offense, right? I expect to see this out of my whole high school, not the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. And I think you bring up a lot of good points in terms of we have the personnel on offense where we can make the defense choose to be wrong. If we dominate with the run game, then we make them wrong with the passing game. And if they decide to shut down the passing game because we have so many weapons, then we punish them with the run game. A lot of teams have an identity where they either set up the pass with the run or they set up the run with the pass. We just seem like we run because we have to and we pass because we have to, not because we're trying to set up for something. Very little of our offenses play action where we're trying to set up the defense to think something else and then they go the other way. It's very one-dimensional. It's very much like we're saying we have the guys on offense and we're just going to shove them down your throat until you accept it.
There. That's the nail on the head.
The point is that you're not even
we're more
letting them,
and we're just going to shove you around. That's what it is, right there. We're more talented. There's nothing you can do about it. Unfortunately, this is the NFL. It doesn't fucking work that way.
It works that way for a year, maybe 2, but these are NFL coordinators. These are guys where it's like, okay, well, I think for a lot of it, I mean, you can sure, yeah, it can work for 8 games. I think it worked for a season even if you're that lopsided. But this is the NFL with NFL defensive coordinators who get paid to break down offenses like this. Where if a team is destroying teams with Jimmys and Joes, then they will come up with the X's and O's to nullify, neutralize. This is an offense that is not remotely. I mean, even in basketball, you can say, okay, let's do an ISO. Let me take care of this guy. We're not there anymore. We're not there anymore where we can go 5 wide and just let AJ and Smith and Goddard and Barkley just murder the league anymore. They figured something out. And if we don't shape up and stay fresh and stay new and stay modern and stay ahead of the curve, we're going to fall behind like we have.
We're too easy to figure out. That's the problem. It's not. If this is still Kellen Moore's offense, I don't believe we look like this at all. I don't think we leave the opposing defenses anything challenging to figure out. Right? They know what we're going to do, and the really good ones will probably tell you after the season that they were calling our plays in their own huddle. Like when you look at a Denver defense or something like that. That's the type of shit that's going on.
I do just want to kind of point out
head coach. If the head coach can't take over on either side of the ball, what is the point for him to be in that position? I don't agree. I lean more towards Dave's comment here. Head coach is there to oversee the whole team. I don't believe a head coach in the NFL should be calling plays on either side of the ball. I lean more that way. Manage the team. You have a higher responsibility. Keenan may have the best point on our offense right here. The plays are more designed for Tanner McKee than they are for Jalen Hurts. I agree. They are calling a pocket passer type of passing offense, and Jalen's not a pocket passer. I agree. I agree with all of this. All of it.
I just want to point out real quick that after starting off 4-0, we have gone 4-4 in the past 8 games.
Yeah. It's like I was saying. You were saying before about how you could get away with it for a season. No, you can't. This is the NFL. You can't just line up and say, I'm better than you, so I'm just going to shove you around. It may work for half a year. That's it. And then 2023 was the same exact thing. We're better. We're more talented. We're just going to shove you around. And nobody adjusted to anything. And you saw what happened. And I'm going to tell you something, and I'll tell all you guys something. You go lose this game on Monday night, and it ain't going to be just eggs getting thrown at people. I fucking promise. There are the full-on panic button is going to get pressed. And now that Chargers defense is good. They are really good, which our offense is not right now. And if you go out there and you're stagnant like this again and lose that game, that'd be 3 losses in a row. And God forbid Dallas beats Detroit tomorrow night. And then you go lose that game on Monday. Now you've got a massive problem. And deja vu all over again, because it was the Dallas Cowboys that caught past us and ended up winning the division in 2023 when we fell off the map. So, is there time? Yes. But not a lot of it. After you get through the Chargers game, you've got the Raiders, the Commodes, the Bills, then the Commodes. Washington is cooked. And the Raiders stink. So, after this Chargers game, really, you could look at it as your only tough, and air quotes, tough matchup is that Buffalo game. But right now, I don't think we should be overlooking anybody with the way that offense is playing.
No. Least of all, another 8-4 team on the road, another potential playoff team. No, we've lost that luxury a long time ago.
Yeah, 2-game losing streak while Dallas gets red hot. That'll kill it.
Sounds familiar.
So, what's that?
Sounds familiar. Sounds very familiar.
Yeah, don't get me started. Sounds way too familiar. It just that there's all signs point to 2023 again, and it makes me sick. So, look, do I believe they can go figure something? The problem is you want to sit there and be like, Jesus Christ, there's so much talent on this offensive side of the ball. Sooner or later, they've got to figure it out, right? Regardless.
I think that's what we've been trying to do for a couple of weeks.
It's just getting worse. It's not improving at all. It's steadily getting worse. And now you got to fly across the country, play another playoff team in their house. And, we all know about teams flying across the country. That shit never really goes that well to begin with. And then, their defense is really tough. Our offense is in the shitter. It's not getting any better. I don't know. I don't think they can just sit there and be like, "Oh, we'll get right against the Raiders." Like, you got to go get right this week, right? Look at the Dallas is likely to face a Detroit team tomorrow night that won't have Amon-Ra St. Brown. It's a massive issue for Detroit, right? Amon-Ra St. Brown is a stud. You take him out of the mix. God, your defense gets so much more simplified where you don't have to worry about him. Now you just bracket Jameson Williams and stack up against that two-headed monster coming out of the backfield. If Dallas wins that game, you want to talk about pressure. Holy shit, the amount of pressure that would be on us at that point. I don't need to keep rehashing it. You go first. We'll do final thoughts. Final thoughts are going to be, what are your thoughts on this upcoming Monday night, dude?
I feel like for the past 3 weeks, it's always been, well, if this doesn't happen this game, then the real test is next week. I feel like we've been kicking the can down the road, but you know what? It's partially correct because we've had, say what you want about Dallas's record, but you could argue that every single team that we've faced for the past, counting this week, will be 5 weeks, has been a playoff team. Packers, Lions, Cowboys will probably make the playoffs. Bears, now the Chargers. That's a pretty tough gauntlet. Not given any kind of excuse at all. If we lay an egg on Monday and we fall to 8-5, you really can't do that again against the 2-10 Raiders. You cannot do that. So I feel like we've been always kicking the can down the road with this team, but we obviously cannot rise to the occasion against playoff teams, which does not bode well if we do make it to the playoffs at all. But if you can't, let's say we lose by 10 points on Monday, 10, 15, 20 points on Monday, are you really not going to be able to beat a Raiders team at home at 1:00 on a Sunday? Are you really going to lose to them? Are you really going to lay an egg offensively against the Raiders? That's what's literally going to come down to. Is okay, it's fine. You can't lift 50, do 40. You can't do 40, lift 30. You can't lift 30, let's do 10. Well, you got to lift 5. Something's got to give something here eventually. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Monday night, Chargers by 3.
I think that's fair, dude. Your point about playoff teams, the last few weeks, got it. Packers, Lions, Cowboys, Bears. But don't forget, we started off the year against the Cowboys, Chiefs, Rams, Buccaneers, and Broncos, right? And we went 4-1 in that stretch. Now we're 2-2 over this last run here, and to me, the offense hasn't looked any different. It's just the offense looks the same. I just think teams are just reacting to being able to bottle it up better and better every week.
I think you're warming up. I think in the first 4 weeks, you have a case where we out talented teams on paper. We just bull rushed them. You have the Cowboys. Carter gets out on the first play. We barely squeaked by them. Chiefs squeaked by them. Rams, we were getting cooked by the Rams.
Crushed.
We came back.
We were getting smashed in the first half.
We came back. We snuck by the Bucks, but if I'm not mistaken, we had a pretty good lead there, and they almost came back. It wasn't until the Broncos where we just completely collapsed, and the talent just the dam broke, and we just could not keep it going. And then,
then you bottom out against the Giants, right?
Yep. Giants, and then
the next 2 weeks after that, you go into Minnesota with a nice win, right, on the road. Then you come home, you return the favor to the Giants, and then you're going into your bye week and you're feeling good, right? Okay, things are starting to get on
Figured it
track here.
out.
We're going to come out of the bye with nice adjustments here. And you go out and you beat Green Bay, but fuck, that was brutal. You beat Detroit, but again, that was brutal. And then here come these last 2 weeks where it has been an absolute disaster. Just mess. So, yeah, dude, if you put a gun to my head and ask me to pick the game this weekend, I would tell you the Chargers win. 3 points sounds right. I just can't I can't confidently pick this team to win a football game till they show me they can get their head out of their ass.
Listen, we lost
Josh,
to a
again,
Bears team at home by 9 points. What do you think?
We can't come out with a W in this game, if we can't come out with a W in this game, I feel like we're an early out in the playoffs. Hey, Josh, I got some more news for you. We're only at 8 wins right now. If you can't start winning some football games here, the playoffs become a question.
They're not guaranteed.
It's not a guarantee yet, man. So, yeah, I'm with you. If I had to pick, I would go Chargers. I would. My pick would be the Chargers just because they're home and we've looked so poor offensively.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, you have a Bears team coming to Philadelphia. We lose by 9. What do you think what do you think happens when we go on the road to a team to a playoff team? I mean, it's not illogical to think that we're not going to win.
You have to look at it right now. No, not at all.
I say this is a copy and paste team. This is a copy and paste team. This is the same offense that we saw in the second half of Dallas. And it went right into Chicago. Yeah. So why do we think that it's not going to happen in Los Angeles?
Look at Josh. He said he was going to be vocal tonight. We have a 99% chance for a playoff berth right now. Yep. Okay. Well, let's see what happens if we lose to the Chargers.
We are the 1%. We are that 1%. Right
we are the 1%. Yeah, we don't want to be the 1%. All right. You got anything else before we get out of here, brother? Been at it for an hour and a half.
No, the worst part about these types of seasons is that you know what it is, and you're just watching you slowly die. This is the worst way to go out when you know that we should be better, but we're just not. Man, if this whole season has just been a giant if this keeps going, there's going to be serious changes that are going to have to be made. When I say serious, I mean like Petula level changes that are going to have to happen in the off season. Probably what do they call it? A Black Monday. When I mean all of the firings happen, I think you're going to see Petula's probably head start to roll. Hopefully, some team thinks he's a genius and takes him on waivers as their head coach. Take him now. I'll give you a letter of recommendation. But no, yeah, this has 23 written all over it. Yeah, right. Yeah, no. So
it does have 23 written all over it, man. It really does. He's still got a couple of opportunities to get right here, but maybe it's getting late early. So I agree with Josh. It's put up or shut up time right here, right now. You go lose this game, and not just lose it, but lose looking like you had the last couple of weeks. I think we're cooked. And even if we do manage to get into the playoffs, I think he's right again. This is what I said coming towards with about a month to go in the 2023 season. You could kind of see it coming. We are going to be an early and very embarrassing out. January. That's the way it looks right now. But we're going to put a wrap on it, folks. We'll come back at you again next week. Talk about the fallout or what from the Birds, obviously. But also the recap of the college football stuff we just talked about and what that final ranking will look like. Those final rankings will come out on Sunday evening. All right. So after all of the mayhem of Saturday is over, they will do the final college football playoff rankings on Sunday evening. And then we'll know what that bracket's going to look like. So that'll be some fun going into next Wednesday when we come back at you here. But for all you maniacs in the room, we appreciate the energy tonight, man. The energy, the questions, the comments, always welcome. Love you guys. Come on back again next week. We'll do it all over again. Hopefully we're talking about a fucking Birds win here. But until then, folks, this has been Unhappy in the NP, powered by Green Legion Radio and proudly brought to you by Cheerleaders Gentlemen's Club. located at 2740 South Front Street in Philadelphia. Call 215-467-1980 for all of your group and party information. Folks, be safe, have fun, bundle up, because, baby, it's cold outside. Don't do anything we wouldn't do. Remember, that judge is not back until Monday. And as always, kids,
Go Birds.
go Birds. All right, kids, that's it. Take care. We love you.